Donald Trump is crashing out as his ceasefire is collapsing and Iran is celebrating their victory over Trump and his regime. Iran is posting video memes of Donald Trump holding a white flag of surrender. Iran is posting memes of their flag saying, "Welcome to the new world superpower, Iran." They're posting these AI Lego videos where they mock Donald Trump and call him the Epstein class leader and talk about his cover-up of child sex trafficking rings. And they mock his surrender and capitulation and his service to Netanyahu at the expense of the United States of America and America's former allies. Now, Donald Trump is panicking as he sees that. He was on social media all last night making post after post. He's also now back to begging Europe and NATO for help. So earlier in the day yesterday, he said, NATO wasn't there when we needed them, and they won't be there if we need them again. Remember Greenland, that big poorly run piece of ice? DJT. So that's what he said earlier yesterday. And then last night, what we learned is the U.S. is pushing its allies to move quickly on securing the Strait of Hormuz after the ceasefire. And Donald Trump has asked, or I should say, begged European countries to present concrete plans within days for what to do with the Strait of Hormuz. Why are you begging European countries, Donald? Didn't you say that the Strait of Hormuz is now open and all of these tankers are being able to leave the Strait of Hormuz? Didn't you say that's what you got in the ceasefire? Oh, wait. When you read Iran's 10-point plan, I know you don't like to read, Donald. One of the things you agreed to is Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz, and they get to charge $2 million per tanker that goes through the Strait of Hormuz. Take a look at this image right here of the Strait of Hormuz, as the New York Times reported. The Strait of Hormuz may be included in the U.S.-Iran ceasefire, but in practice, it's barely functioning. No oil or gas tankers have passed through since the agreement, and only a handful of cargo ships have crossed. 4 cargo ships, mostly Iranian flagged, not tankers, so no oil on any of these ships. Even where passage might be possible, most shipping companies remain cautious and are avoiding the route right now. Also, Iran is rolling out more information about its plan to collect these tolls in the Strait of Hormuz. So they plan to charge tankers cryptocurrency fees to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, and you have to email them. They give you permission or don't give you permission. They tell you where to send the money to using the cryptocurrency, and they'll ask you a bunch of other questions. Then they say that they've mined the entire Strait of Hormuz, so the ship has to go to the coast of Iran, and then it's very close to where all the Iran ballistic missiles are pointed and drones, and can easily shoot one of these ships if there's any view that it poses a threat to Iran. Iran is controlling the Strait of Hormuz with an iron fist, but let's be clear, that was in the agreement that Donald Trump ultimately accepted. So then late last night, here's what Donald Trump posted. He posted this at around midnight last night. All U.S. ships, aircraft, and military personnel with additional ammunition, weaponry, and anything else that is appropriate and necessary for the lethal prosecution and destruction of an already substantially degraded enemy will remain in place in and around Iran until such time as the real agreement reached is fully complied with. If for any reason it is not, which is highly unlikely, then the shooting starts bigger and better and stronger than anyone has ever seen before. It was agreed a long time ago, and despite all of the fake rhetoric to the contrary, no nuclear weapons and the Strait of Hormuz will be open and safe. In the meantime, our great military is loading up and resting, looking forward actually to its next conquest. America is back. Its next conquest. Do you realize what you sound like? Next conquest. You are a war criminal. You are a felon. You are a genocidal maniac. You are a despicable individual. The next conquest. So as Donald Trump is panicking, right? He's doing the begging Europe thing again, right? After attacking NATO and threatening to withdraw. Hey guys, can you submit like a plan of how we take over the Strait of Hormuz? They're like, you figure it out, bud. This was your unlawful and catastrophic war. Good luck, bud. Do it on your own. We're back to that phase again. Europe, they're going to give me a plan and they're going to do it, right? Doesn't this have the exact same pattern of COVID again in 2020? This is going to drag out and drag out and drag out. This is what Trump does.
Ever wake up sweaty, freezing, or just uncomfortable? The temperature in your bedroom can make or break your sleep. That's why I switched to Miracle Made sheets. They're inspired by NASA technology and use silver-infused temperature-regulating fabric to help you sleep perfectly all night long. Miracle Made sheets feel just as good, if not better, than sheets you'd find at a 5-star hotel, but without the steep price tag. Smooth, breathable, and ridiculously comfortable. Thanks to their antibacterial silver technology, Miracle Made sheets stay cleaner and fresher up to 3 times longer than regular sheets. That means fewer odors, fewer wash cycles, and way less laundry. All that hidden bacteria in regular sheets, it can clog your pores and cause breakouts. Miracle Made's antibacterial design helps you sleep cleaner and clearer night after night. Miracle Made sheets are crafted with NASA-inspired silver-infused fabric that helps regulate your body temperature. Hot sleeper, cold sleeper, it doesn't matter. These sheets help keep you in the comfort zone all night long. Upgrade your sleep or give the gift of better rest. Go to trymiracle.com/Meidas to try Miracle Made sheets today. You'll save over 40%, and when you use the promo code Meidas, you'll get an extra 20% off plus a free 3-piece towel set. They make for an amazing gift, and with a 30-day money-back guarantee, there's no risk. That's trymiracle.com/Meidas, code Meidas at checkout. Thanks to Miracle Made for sponsoring this episode.
But Trump got his propaganda media working because as he crashes out, he's like, propaganda media, state regime media, which calls itself Fox, I need your help. And so this is what they have on Fox. They got this guy. He's like, I know lots of people are saying taco. Trump always chickens out. But I got one, nacho. Never avoid confronting hard obstacles. Nacho? Play this clip.
So Democrats are already saying that this is taco. Trump always chickens out. Let me give you another acronym. Nacho. Never avoids confronting hard obstacles. And that's exactly what President Trump did.
Hungry.
He went in.
I know, we were like,
I made that up on my own.
That's pretty good.
Because I was thinking about the opposite of what that would be. He didn't chicken out. He's willing to confront what previous presidents for 47 years couldn't do to stand up to him.
Then Trump's other sycophant propagandist, Jesse Waters, said, okay, one of the good things about this ceasefire deal is we know their pressure points now. Trump's identified Iran's pressure points. What pressure points, Jesse? Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz. A more powerful version of the Islamic Republic is in charge. Iran is now not just a regional power, but a world power. They have all of their ballistic missiles and Shahid drones, and the U.S. is flailing. But okay, talk to us about pressure points. Let's play this clip.
We have set them back militarily years. They can't come back from this. And they have no leadership. They have nothing. They have nothing left. And we did it without boots on the ground. And we only lost 13 brave service members, and we did it within the timeline the president said he was going to do it. If you had rewound it and said all of these things could happen, if this was going to be the result, you would probably say, yeah, I'd probably go for it. I probably would have gone for it. Now, listen, we got to win the peace. This isn't over, but it does give the American soldiers a little R&R, which they need. We can re-rack the guns, we can bring in more interceptors, and we can watch what the Iranians do. And if they screw around, we can go back and hit them. You know why, Jessica? Because we know their pressure point. We threatened bridge and power plant day. And what happened? Khomeini, the gay Ayatollah, said, we gotta sign a deal. And the Chinese came in and says, guys, your economy is already dead and it's never coming back if you guys keep fighting. Sign a deal. That was the Reuters team and the Times both reported that Trump's threat made them cave. Yeah. And now we can just watch and we can go back in and do what we need to do. But if you guys aren't going to agree with the fact that we now call it the Gulf of America, if you can't even say, yeah, that's good. Okay, we don't need you. You've been against everything this guy's done, good or bad.
And just
then they bring on another propagandist, this guy Morrow, who's like, you know what? Say what you want about Trump. He's the first guy to say we're not going to cut some BS deal. This is a good. He's not the guy who cuts a BS deal. This deal is quite literally a BS. It's a fake ceasefire. And to the extent it did everything, it's a total surrender of the United States. Again, go through the 10 points. I know I did so many videos going through the 10 points. I don't need to go over it again. But it's a total surrender to Iran. Here, play this clip.
And say what you want about Trump. He's the first guy who said, we're not going to cut some BS deal like Kerry cut in Austria. That, oh yeah, there's a JCPOA and we're not naive and all that crap. No, you are naive. They were just kicking it down range so that they didn't have to deal with it.
More from Jesse Waters, who goes on and talks about how, and now we have a joint venture with Iran where we're splitting the Strait of Hormuz profits 50-50 because Donald Trump says so. They ain't splitting the profits with you. There's no joint venture. Donald Trump agrees Iran has the Strait of Hormuz and they can charge $2 million to $2.5 million per ship. Donald Trump agreed in the 10-point plan, Iran gets to enrich uranium and will build a nuclear bomb, essentially. Donald Trump agreed that Iran gets full reparations for the war. Donald Trump agreed America removes its military bases, all of them, from the Middle East. Donald Trump agreed to full security guarantees for Hezbollah in Lebanon, for Shiite militia groups in Iraq, for the Houthis in Yemen, and for Iran. It says it in the 10-point plan. I know everyone wants to pretend that's, I know in state regime media, like, that was not a 10-point plan. It was a 15-point plan, and Iran gave up. But you heard what Jesse Waters said, right?
So I guess we're going to just allow for a little bit of a grace period. The president says, we don't even mind Iran charging tolls as long as we get a 50% cut. He said a joint venture would be a beautiful thing. I'm not sure an Iranian toll booth with tankers, even with the U.S. kickback, is wise, but I'd rather have the Iranians taxing tankers than bombing them. I'm sure they'll hash it out at their Pakistani peace summit. It's not like we'd pay. We don't get oil from the Strait. It's a small premium for peace in the Middle East.
And then Jesse Waters is like, so if we go back in, the markets are not going to overreact. Watch what Jesse Waters says right here. Let's play it.
So we'll have more Marines in the region. And we're still flying over Iranian airspace, monitoring the situation. A ceasefire is a release valve for the stock market. It's already almost rallied all the way back to where it was at the start of the war. Oil prices have already tapered off, and every day we don't drop bombs, prices drop. If we go back in, it'll be a quick one too, and the markets won't overreact. We hold the cards, and the military is ready for everything.
And here's what Laura Ingraham says. Let's play this clip.
But Trump wanted to hear all of it. So what we can gather from this report is that almost everything we heard from the other side about how this all went down was a lie. Trump did not simply follow Bibi's recommendation. He was fully briefed from the Pentagon and intel communities. He did have an open and productive dialogue from his entire war cabinet, who each gave informed assessments. And finally, President Trump, as always, understood leverage, and then when he made his decision, how to use it. This is how the White House is supposed to work. They're not supposed to sit over in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and do whatever the press or the pundits or cable or podcast hosts or global elites want them to do. The president is supposed to act in the long-term interest and security of the United States, not in his own short-term political interest.
And then you had, Megyn Kelly just losing it here. Let's play this clip.
Now, as you can imagine, that post did not go over well with the Iranians or with many Americans. I mean, I don't know about you, but I am sick of this shit. I'm sick of it. Can't he just behave like a normal human? I mean, honestly, like the president, 380, yes, shut up. Fucking shut up about that shit.
And then she went on Piers Morgan, and here's what she had to say. You know, she's like, it's all Netanyahu's fault. Here, play this clip.
Trump watched us learn it. And so what led Trump, at 79 years old, to sit in there in that situation room when Bibi Netanyahu was seated as an equal?
Yeah.
Trump didn't even sit at the head of the table. Trump sat at the side of the table, and Bibi was across from him as an equal in the American Situation Room. What led him to sit there and buy what that guy was selling hook, line, and sinker when every other president was able to see through that liar? What was it? Because he was told the next day by our own top advisors, from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs to the Secretary of State to the vice president, that these are lies and that these objectives are not going to be attainable. Don't believe him. We might be able to wipe out the Ayatollah, not regime change, Ayatollah. And we might be able to decimate some portion of their missiles and their military. Okay, that's true. But the goals as stated by Trump when we actually did pull the trigger were all over the board. And to this moment, he's pushing the BS claim that we affected regime change. No, we didn't. It's the same regime, just different players. There isn't somebody more moderate in there at all. We have no reason to believe that. In fact, it looks like the Iranian Revolutionary Guard is in control now, which is far more radical. And the fatwa that had allegedly been issued by the Ayatollah on developing nukes is gone. Iran is more powerful economically. It controls the Strait and now is demanding the lifting of all sanctions against it. And what Trump did with that 10-point plan was go from Monday saying, no, not good, to Tuesday saying, very workable, we can do it, as a means of saving face to bail off of his insane threats about annihilating an entire civilization. So I don't know how we got here, Piers. I'd like to know just as much as anybody else, but all I can think in my head, based on what I've read in the paper, is we got here thanks to Bibi Netanyahu, Lindsey Graham, and Mark Levin. And ultimately President Trump. That's not to take agency away from the president, who was bamboozled. I don't know why. He was too weak to say no. He was too gullible to see through the lies. One way or another, he allowed himself to be pushed into this insane conflict.
And meanwhile, Iran just keeps on making these like Lego mocking meme videos about Donald Trump. This is their latest one that they made on Donald Trump that they're distributing through Iranian media. Let's play it.
Hey, orange pig, America first? Oops. Oh boy, that was the slogan you stole. But Bibi's pulling strings and your vote is getting cold. We're not just fighting for Iran, hear this clear. Your people reached out to us, yeah, we got the DMs here. If one nation's gonna stand against the Epstein regime's fear, it's us till the last breath, we've been doing it for years. We're standing here for everyone your system ever wrong. They've known all along, the enemy was always you. The real threat war is Putin sung a patriotic song while selling their own citizens and calling it strong. Stealing from your own people, making them bleed, taking tax dollars just to fund your own greed. They waking up to the lies, the illusions of burst. You screamed America first, now you put losers first. Make Israel great again. Your government is run by pedophiles. They ordered you to die for Israel. They ordered you to die for Israel. They lied to you all. We saw everything. If the public ever saw the files, man, the planet would shake from the level of filth and the crimes in your wake. No wonder Jeff called you the worst, you degenerate snake. You claimed you never set foot. You went 40 plus times. You sick bastard, you cooked. We stepping up to the plate, Epstein regime gotta fall. You fake Christian elite, sacrificing the ball. Demon, you talk real big for a man with tiny hands. Tiny hands, tiny things, tiny everything. We saw everything, and word got out, the smallness kinda expands. No wonder all those rage tweets, all those desperate rants. Overcompensating bully, always causing the scene. You said you love losers, well, look at your team. Your government is run by pedophiles. They ordered you to die for Israel. They ordered you to die for Israel. They lied to you all.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to add the MeidasTouch podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for new updates every single day.